Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, how are you? Happy Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting everything set here. Awesome. Alrighty.
I
We
know, I'm
are,
trying to get my Instagram going here. Hold on. There we go. It's doing its thing. We go live on Instagram and Facebook and Twitch and Rumble and of course YouTube. So welcome everyone.
yep, welcome to all of the streams. If you guys have questions, make sure you end up and you put them in the chat. I'll be flipping through because we have an exciting evening tonight with our special guest. We'll get into that in a minute, but also make sure no matter which platform you're on, you like, you subscribe, throw us some comments. If there's someone you want to end up and see on this channel, make sure you put that in the chat or the comments as well. We'll reach out to them and get them on. But awesome. How are you on this lovely Monday, my dear?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. We're in the process of moving. I haven't really officially announced that yet, but um, it's interesting to see what real stress does to the body. And I'm definitely going through that. And it kind of ties in with our guest because, I worked with him personally. But the cortisol is a real thing with stress. And unfortunately, I'm gaining weight because of it, but I know what's causing it. And doing all the extras that I do, I just know it's just getting past it and moving on and, getting back to a routine once we get moved. So,
Yeah.
anyway, that's kind of
Yeah.
my thing.
Awesome. Sounds like a good Monday. You're doing the best that you can. You're progressing forward and you're still staying on track, right? You know what's
Absolutely.
happening because you keep those areas consistent and
Yep.
but
Yep.
with
My nutrition intake is still spot on, and I'm still getting the earthing and the sun, the vitamin D, and so I'm definitely, keeping my I don't have them on now, but my blue blockers, mitigating that, and just keep working on it. So it's interesting that the coach is having problems, but it's all a learning lesson for all of us.
But exactly. And that's, all part of our channel in regards of healing the whole body. It's not healed, right? It's healing because it's
Right.
all a lifestyle. It's all a journey and it's all a process. And as we've said before, we are real people just, navigating this whole process the same way as the next. And I think that it also, helps our listeners to be able to be more in tune with us, right? Be more
Yeah.
relatable to us and far as our journey goes. And
Right.
so you'll get there. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'm excited about our guest.
I exactly. And so without further ado, I'll let you bring him on while I give a little bit of the backstory.
All
So
righty.
welcome to the platform, Dr. Elie. Is nice to have you here. I'm just going to give a little bit of your background and then we will get into it. But Dr. Elie is a board certified physician in internal medicine. He worked in hospital medicine from 2013 to 2022, managing complex hospitalized patients and saw firsthand the damage that these metabolic diseases that we talk about every day on our channel or every Monday and had guests. So all of these metabolic diseases in his early 30s, he had his own health issue, including chronic back pain, high blood pressure, pre-diabetic, and 35 pounds overweight. Oh my goodness. I could so relate. Absolutely. But after being frustrated with conventional medicine, hey, me too. That's how we got started on this path. But anyway, he took a holistic approach and used different versions of whole food, low carb diet, paleo, keto, carnivore, etc to completely fix his issues. And after his personal experience and realizing that most patients who end up in the hospital are often metabolically sick, he shifted his professional focus onto nutrition as his main tool to combat these chronic metabolic diseases and primarily obesity and the type 2 diabetes, as well as the hypertension. His main philosophy is food is thy medicine. And I couldn't agree more. But people are being poisoned, obviously, by the current food environment that we tend to live in. He currently helps patients change their diet and lifestyle and reverse his chronic disease, which is why, Dr. Elie, welcome to our YouTube and all of our other streaming platforms. This is why we felt like you were a perfect fit.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Becky and Sherry. Sherry, I know I worked with you before, so I know your struggles.
Yes, you do. Yeah. So just a little bit of background on that. Um, I believe it was June. No, June,
Around May.
May. Yeah. So I was doing everything I could, right? Keto. I had turned carnivore. And no matter what I did, my blood sugar was just high. In fact, I had flexed one day and went and had some rice and stuff, and I was wearing a continuous glucose monitor, and it registered higher than the monitor could read. And it was like, oh my god, and that was over 400. So it was my husband and I talked, and I have followed you for quite some time. And it's like, you know what? I I I I need to get focused here. I need to figure out what's going on. Why can I not, reduce my blood sugar, get off these meds, blah blah blah. And so I did. I reached out. We did a consultation, and I hired you, and we worked together for how many weeks?
For yeah, 16 weeks or so.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll let you kind of dive in on all that.
Yeah, you were a tough cookie to you were one of my challenging ones because we did everything right and your body was just not having it. You just came to me already have tried everything. Like you're low carb already, so there's not much low hanging fruit to hang my try. So we went straight to fasting, upping protein, decreasing fat. I mean, we made headways after you've been stuck for so long. I think you managed to lose 10 pounds and reduce your A1C, which was I think like 7.6 or so, and down to
Yeah.
the 6.7 or in that
By the way,
range.
your microphone is cutting
Sorry.
in and out.
Okay, is that
There
better?
we go.
All
Yep.
right. So I was saying you had a hard time despite doing everything. Your diabetes was not controlled, and you were already low carb and doing keto. But we had to make some changes. You don't eat carbs, so we had to even cut fat, do more fasting, up protein, and that helped you improve your glucose and lose 10 pounds or so in that timeline. Which for you is a huge deal because it's just you were stuck.
Right.
And then your A1C improved from I think 7.6 to 6.7. So
Yep.
yeah. Well, how have you been since doing since then?
Maintaining, right? Everything's been going good. Still doing literally the approach you and I've been worked on until the stress hit that I would just talked about because we're moving. And so I honestly, I'm not even testing my blood sugar right now because I'm pretty sure where it's at. And but I'm just going to keep going the course, right? But you actually got me off of my type 2 diabetes medicine,
Yeah, yeah. We forgot which one, metformin or
metformin.
metformin. Yeah, it wasn't making a difference whether without it. It was really all diet. Yeah, that worked for you. Is it still cutting off here? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Let me see. I think my microphone is acting up.
well, that's good. My camera is so.
Uh, is this a better microphone?
Keep talking.
Better now? Is that better? No?
Uh, no,
Well, how about now? No? Sorry. So I
it's
have
great.
Eddie stopped working recently. If I'm not attached to it, it doesn't work well. So
Hmm.
let me see. Sorry about that, guys. How about now?
Oh yeah,
Better?
yeah.
All right.
Nope. It
How about
cut out.
now?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
I'll let you know.
So, yeah, you were struggling, but now you're doing better. But stress is a big thing for you. Uh,
Yes.
it's always been. For some reason, you're very sensitive to cortisol,
Mhm.
and then working on sleep and stress and all that stuff happened to help you as well, in addition to diet. Yeah. So that's
Yeah. Yeah, you said I was one of your tougher nuts to crack.
are you having a hard time hearing me?
Yeah,
How about now?
keep talking.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what's happening. Sorry.
It happens. But
I switched the microphone to the camera. Is there a way to troubleshoot this?
hey, it's life, right?
My volume. Is this better?
It's about the same.
Hmm. I'm working with all the settings. Sorry about that.
No,
I don't know what to do. I'm trying different settings. Is this microphone better?
No, that made it worse.
Made it worse.
let's just say it wasn't too bad. It just kind of, I think when you like move close and far is when it was.
Yeah, when you move back, I can't hear you. If you move up, we can hear you. Yay, we get to see your whole face.
Is this good?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Good?
yeah.
Okay. I won't move my head. Go ahead. Lost my train of thought.
Oh, well, we were just talking about what a crazy case I was for you. Well, at one point you thought I was a type 1.5 diabetic.
Yeah.
We did that.
Because you were very sensitive. So even if you eat something and then raises your sugar, you would stay there for a long time.
Yeah.
And sometimes randomly you drop low. So we thought about that, but I don't think it turned
Yeah,
out to
you
be the
ruled that
case.
out with blood work. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So you worked in a hospital. You were on, uh, tell us a little bit more. Like, give us some dirt. Like, how long did you do that for? And you're giving people insulin, right? And I
Yeah.
mean,
So I was traditionally trained. I went to medical school, did residency training, and I did a fellowship in kidney disease. So my path was internal medicine, kidney disease, dialysis, that kind of stuff. But funny thing, I didn't like to deal with chronic diseases. So I switched to hospital medicine. So taking care of patients in the hospital, thinking it's acute, it's easier to handle. Like people come, you make them feel better, and then they go home. It was more satisfying, and that lasted for 9 years, which was rewarding in a way. But then you find out it's the same people kind of coming in and out and getting sicker over time. And then everything I was seeing, or most things I was seeing, is some sort of complication of metabolic diseases, whether it's obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, heart disease, stroke, cancer, all those things. And then people who come in with metabolic disease or diabetes, I realized that we manage them wrong, because you look at their food tray, it's full with carbohydrates. We inject them with insulin. We just worry about making the number look pretty, but nothing is getting better. And as I was improving my own health, I knew what we were doing is not right for the long term. So I had prediabetes. My A1C was at 1.5.7, right at the border, and I was only like early 30s. High blood pressure, chronic back pain. As I went on Whole 30, then keto, then carnivore, over that time, everything got fixed. I lost the weight. I felt amazing. Back pain is gone. A1C normal, all of that stuff. So I started counseling patients kind of indirectly or talking to them in the hospital about food. And the biggest case that kind of was a pivotal moment for me was this lady in her 50s who had failing liver from fatty liver disease. So she was on the verge of getting evaluated for liver transplant. She was confused from liver toxins. She was morbidly obese. She had diabetes, and the husband was desperate for a change, and they didn't want to get on a transplant. So I told him, look, there's something you can do. There's not a lot of research, but I know it probably will work if you do it. Cut out sugar, start fasting, don't eat hospital food, cut out carbohydrates. Your liver at the time, her liver at the time was not scarred, so it did not have cirrhosis, so there was a hope for her. They did that. They just stopped eating at the hospital. They started getting stuff from outside. Eventually, she left the hospital, and then 3 months later, I checked in with them, and she had completely reversed her liver disease and lost, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 pounds. They were active, they're hiking. So that was, this is when I realized if you give people the right advice and people want to follow, then you can definitely influence them and fix the disease. So that was the biggest aha moment for me. And then COVID came, and I kept seeing the same thing. The metabolically sick are the ones who are ending up in the hospital, ending up in the ICU, ending up dying. I became more, lack of a better term, obsessed with nutrition as the only way to really fix a problem, not pills. And that's how I started. I started posting on Twitter, thinking. I started like my online thing as a side hustle, and slowly started getting clients. And people really were waking up and they wanted to improve their health. So I started reaching out and got some traction, and that's how I. 3 years later, that's how you found me. So yeah, and then over time, I weaned myself off the hospital. I completely quit 2 years ago to focus on metabolic health. So I've been doing this alone, and then Rivero, Dr. Sean Baker, reached out to me last year to help out with their startup. So I've been working behind the scene, helping with the clinical protocols about how to de-prescribe medications when people fix their diet, and we're launching now. So there's a long waiting list. So we're gonna start seeing patients with the Rivero too, and I'll be part of that as well. So that's a long-winded answer, but from traditional to completely opposite, but the way that fixes things and get people off medications.
So you have quite a following on social media, especially I know on Instagram for sure. And you post some stuff and you get a lot of comments on it. And I know the other day I said, hey, you got me off my type 2 diabetes medicine. And I think there was like something like 10 people liked it or something crazy like that. But it's like there's an answer and that's the exciting part. I had to go ahead and hire you and work with you because of it we had to figure out why I was so sensitive. But other people have great results that you work with. And kind of tell us about some of your clients that you in general.
Yeah, like today, I finished working with a guy. He came to me exactly 16 weeks ago, uh, my age, 40, and then he had type 2 diabetes, uncontrolled, A1C 11.5, obesity, the 366 pounds, triglycerides 600. Like everything is just out of control. But he was motivated, and I knew he was going to do well. So he started a very low carb, ketogenic slash carnivore slash intermittent fasting. That progression over time. And then I just got his blood work. So his A1C without a single pill went from 11.6 to 5.8 in that just 16 weeks. He lost 47 pounds. He still have over 100 pounds to lose. I mean, he lost 6 inches off his waist. I mean, everything, his mental clarity, his energy, his blood pressure, everything looks great. And it's only 16 weeks in. So that's one. I mean, I had a lady when I first started, had diabetes for 20 years. She was on insulin and other pills. She was on 7 pills that by the end of the 16 weeks, I got her off all of them. And she maintained, she still to this day is very healthy. So yeah, that's the typical get people off. Well, I don't, I mean, they do the work, they listen,
Yeah.
and then I help them come off medications. So that's my focus. So it's been a lot of diabetes, a lot of obesity, a lot of high blood pressure, and other things come into play indirectly. People have acid reflux improve, their anxiety improves, their fatigue improves, chronic pain improve, autoimmune issues improve, and we know that already. Becky knows that too. I mean, from the carnivore diet side, you can fix a lot of things too. So it's exciting.
It can fix a lot of things, but on that aspect, and that's one of the things that I really appreciate about Sean and the whole Rivero side of things is not everyone has to be carnivore forever, right? It's a good elimination tool, and that's exactly what Sean, refers to it even in his book, which I have behind me. But it's an elimination tool, and I think that's where a lot of people end up and get stuck is if it's working for you, you're seeing progress, and you don't ever want to eat another, we'll just say blueberry, for instance,
Yeah.
that's fine. Don't eat the blueberry, but also don't be dogmatic in these people that do want to start reintroducing when they get that metabolic health better. They get um back on track as far as, their autoimmune issues, their pre-diabetes or even diabetic. Like I work with some type 2 and type 1s that I've seen tremendous progress with in reversing. I mean, type 1s obviously will have to be on insulin, but I have one that she's been able to reduce her insulin in half just by doing a low carb lifestyle. So obviously, with diabetics, and I know I've spoke with Sean about this too, that's where also like the fats can come in, right? The fattier meats, the healthier fats, being able to stabilize that blood sugar. One of the questions was, how did your peers react to the idea of these dietary changes when you started to talk about, dietary change and working with it that way versus the traditional medicine way?
Well, in the hospital, my colleagues would tease me because this is the thing is with people like you and everybody who gets into this field, you lived it firsthand. Very few people advocate keto or low carb or carnivore if they haven't really gone through it themselves. So I had been doing keto for a long time and lost the weight. So people knew I was already in that mindset. So when I start pushing, talking about it to my patients, I mean, they understood that makes sense, but they didn't want to. A lot of them, there's just like too much work. Well, they're not gonna follow up. Well, a lot of people are non-compliant. It's like I do my part. Like, I can lead you to water, but I mean, I can't make you drink. So I do. I feel like I need to do my part. But in the hospital, you get them for that few days where they're really at their sickest. So the last thing they want to hear is telling them what to eat or like. So sometimes they're just eating for comfort. I understood that. But yeah, my colleagues. I mean, nobody really gave me a hard time. Uh, but they maybe thought I was a little bit more idealistic. But you have to be sometimes to make a difference. But no, they've been supportive.
Well, didn't you had, if I remember your backstory from a long time ago, I had heard you talk to Temple. And I believe when you talked to her, you stopped doing, you got better, and then you went back to the,
Yes, yes. So early on, I started with Whole 30. I did a month, then I added a month. Felt amazing. It was like, good, I can go back to my old eating habits. And then when I started eating badly again, I kind of, my back started hurting again. I just didn't feel as good. So I realized, okay, this has to be a lifestyle. And for me, Whole 30, while it worked, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't sustainable because I like dairy, for example. So and that's the thing, carnivore works only if you're willing to do it. So any diet that you want to follow, you may want to make sure you can sustain it or sustain a version of it that long term. So maybe because it was early on for me, but Whole 30, then I did paleo, but then I went keto, which I enjoyed the dairy and higher fat. but then I did carnivore and I lost more weight. So I kept experimenting and realized it's not a you can mix you can figure out what works for you. So for now, I'm like 80% carnivore, but that 20% when I go out or meet with friends or something, I'm not afraid of vegetables. Some people tell you, a leaf is gonna kill you or something like that. But I mean, there are some people need to eliminate things like oxalates and other things, but for the most people, I think it's fine to eat some spinach if you want to. So
I was to say I would love to end up to hear your take on that because you're right. You end up and you hear plants are going to kill you. You hear, plants are poison. And I get, right. I kind of like you do a seasonal aspect. So that is the difference in me. I will be carnivore in the wintertime. I'm in Nebraska. You dear folks down there in Texas have it a lot warmer than what I do. But up here in Texas up here in Nebraska, with the snow and everything, I'm not going to grow anything outside, right? So it's not really, if we look at it from a seasonal perspective,
yep.
Ideal for me. And that's one of the biggest things going across, Instagram specifically is things like kiwi in season for February or, just different things. And it's like, okay, maybe depending where you live. But on the other side of things, I would love to end up and hear your take because a lot of physicians out there right now, especially that are working in the carnivore space, are like, plants are going to kill you, anti-nutrients, don't end up and consume them. What is your take in regards of if a person reverses their metabolic disease, their detox pathways are open, they're able to tolerate some of these anti-nutrients and be able to consume them, can they end up and have them safely in moderation?
I'm a simplistic guy. I like to think in a simple way. We always ate that stuff, so it's never been the issue. It's really the ultra processed food. So what is making us sick is not the nutrients. Although when you're sick, you maybe add to the problem. Some people are sensitive. I know people who have, if they eat nightshades, their joints hurt. That's fine. But for most people, if you're obese or you have diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, the problem is insulin resistance. It's chronic inflammation. It's really sugar, ultra processed food, ultra refined food. You can even debate about seed oils. I happen to believe that they're part of the problem too. But if you eliminate that stuff, that's where you're gonna see the greatest benefits. So I tell people we have to eliminate that. What we replace with is for satiety, for nutrients. So protein has to be a dominant thing. You can do it 100% protein and animal fat and be carnivore, or just kind of find something in the middle. I find guys like simple stuff, so they're happy to eat the same piece of meat every day. Women, they want 7 different varieties every day. So that's my experience with people. So and I tell them it's fine. What do you enjoy? Don't eat something you don't like, but whatever you like, it's healthy. I mean, I don't have a problem. If you want to eat pork all day long instead of red meat, or you want broccoli every day, that's fine. So I don't have a problem. It's just know what bothers you. I had a young lady a while back. She loves kale, but every time she eats kale, she looks like a 6 month pregnant lady, and she's miserable. Like, okay, for you that particular vegetable doesn't work, so she stops the kale and goes away. So you have to respond to what the problem is. People
Yeah.
with kidney stones, and they happen to be like calcium oxalate stones, then oxalates have to be, limited. Almonds and spinach and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so the short answer is I'm not dogmatic, but I do believe adequate protein is crucial for sustainability, because if you eliminate the bad but you don't are not full, you're gonna fail. You're gonna have craving. You're gonna be hungry. It's not gonna work. So you gotta eat enough protein. So
And that's where I've seen, getting in adequate protein for someone's goals, but also making sure the higher fat for me specifically. I did a lot of experimenting with Sean in regards to the blood glucose and, mental health, the autoimmune. I had thyroid issues, I had hormone issues, and that's where, keeping those the fats in there with the protein, right? Combining the two. But I did just get through talking to a gentleman earlier today in regards, before we jumped on this, in regards to and it was in, a carnivore space. And he's like, well, do you have any opinions on if I can consume fruits every day in relationship to my workouts? And I'm looking to actually, he needed to gain weight. He had a metabolic issue that was, he was underweight. And I'm like, well, you got to activate that Randall cycle. You got to be able to eat enough to essentially gain the weight, right? So I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Your body is going to seek that energy for, especially for your workout. So yeah, carbs are not. And I think that's another way that people can strategize or strategically put those carbs in there too, is depending on what
Yeah,
they're doing.
there's room for them for a lot of people, and I tell the people like maybe rice or bananas didn't make you sick, but when you're already sick, you're not going to be able to process them properly, so you'll have to withhold them for a period of time until you fix insulin resistance. It's highly individual too. So every time I post something is bad with like how about like I posted about fructose, but everybody now freaking out about a piece of fruit, and I tell them it's just the dose and it's the process and the high fructose corn syrup and then what are you trying to fix? Like I'm healthy now, I can eat fruit, I'm fine. But if you have diabetes and all you want to eat is grapes and bananas, you're not going to have any control over your diabetes. So yes, so you have to fix the underlying metabolic issue. Then a lot of natural foods can fit into the diet. But no, I'm with you. I mean, it's highly individual. You do well at high fat diet. I know. I thought everybody should be high fat until I experiencing with patients, especially postmenopausal women, when high fat diet they can't lose weight for some whatever reason. They do keto and then just stuck. They lose that initial 10-15 pounds and then they go sideways until we moderate the fat. I never do low fat, but moderate the fat, up the protein more. Some people do well with fasting. For some reason, Sherry, every time she fasted, it was such a stressful event, like her sugar went the other way. Uh, it's so
Have you
you get
have you
humbled when you actually treat patients because what you think is right all the time is always some exceptions.
Well, and it's an equals one, right? I mean, we could end up and have 20 people, and none of them 20 people are going to end up and do it the same. And I know that's also where, for those type of people that you're referencing, that, they're doing the fasting or they're doing the higher fat or they're doing, that realm, that's where with me, the fat fasting come in. Calm that cortisol, also looking at the leptin resistant side of the postmenopausal. So I had a hysterectomy when I was 29, aka, in menopause, because of that. Yeah, I know, right? That was, had I known then what I know now, I probably would have done things a little bit different. But again, wrapped up in traditional medicine and, you know, had precancerous cells or cancer cells. And I'm like, I'm done having kids, right? I don't need any of this, and go ahead and take it all. So, like I said, looking back, I maybe would have done a little bit different, but on that realm, I identify with, even though my age doesn't, put me there, I identify with the menopausal women, or postmenopausal, I should say. And that is where I end up. And I see, especially like you were saying with the fasting, people will end up at fast and then it doesn't work. And so they fast more. And then they end up and that doesn't work. And then, they go even longer. And it creates this real vicious cycle to where putting the fat fasting in there and giving their body that source of fat for the energy, for, kind of a training wheel to jumpstart. I have seen multiple success with it, in many people. And but yeah, as far as helping with people with hypertension, prediabetes, on that side of things, what all, I mean, other aspects beyond just the nutrition, have you looked at lifestyle practices, breath work? In the Beyond Nutrition community, we really work on breath work and mindset and mental health, because there is that huge connection in regards to our mental health and holding us back from moving forward. Have you looked at any of that in your practice with what you're doing?
Indirectly, well, I know like I focus on sleep and exercise and stress reduction, stress management as part of the diet. I told him you still like 80% diet, but there's a few 20% of cases where high stress don't do well. If they don't sleep, they don't do well. if they don't have enough muscle, which is a that's been a problem. I've been seeing a fair share of women, elderly women who look thin and they have diabetes because they don't have enough muscle. So for these people, you have to combine low carb, but they do well, but they're very sensitive because they don't have a lot of reserve. So for them, I really encourage them to go to the gym, which is hard when someone is 70s and to build some muscle, but that's gonna be key. So yeah, non-dietary approach is building muscle, stress reduction. um, I haven't gotten. I mean, I feel like I'm a therapist half the time, talking to people. There's a lot of psychological issues, definitely stress, and everybody handles stress differently. So yeah, I do encourage them to manage things a little bit better. Go out in nature, go on a walk. Tell them you're not trying to burn calories. You just want to, clear your head, and that's going to be helpful.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
any
Oh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know that, that's how we figured out like what stress does to me when we were working together. I mean, it was like, holy cow. Um, but you were watching everything I ate. Like I was filling out, a form for you. Blood pressure. I mean, we were watching everything. One of the two things that stood out to me is all the supplements that I had been taking. You were like, let's throw them out, take these couple basics, and we're starting from here. And I'm still like taking the basics,
Yeah.
the magnesium and the vitamin D with the 3, with the K2. I don't have anything else that I'm really adding.
Because it didn't make a difference. That's why I thought it was a waste
Right.
of money for you. I think we over supplement too, thinking they're gonna fix our problems. Um, I mean, there are selective deficiencies that people may need, but generally, metabolically speaking, I think D and magnesium tend to be the main ones, and salt, electrolytes. But other than that, is really everything else. I haven't really seen a big difference. I'm sure some people will swear by it, but um, I trend to be let's fix it with nutrition, and then see.
And the other thing that you made me cry was, not really, but you took dairy away from me. We eliminated dairy.
We had to, and you started the scale started moving when we did that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I'm still not consuming dairy.
Yeah, I hate to do it because people love dairy, but whatever reason, something in dairy tends to bother certain people. So
Yeah, that was a bummer. And then when I couldn't have my heavy whipping cream with my coffee, and I was trying to drink it black, coffee actually raises my blood sugar.
stimulant, yeah,
Yeah. And so I still very rare drink coffee, maybe once in a while if I go out for breakfast or something, but it is very rare that I touch coffee at this point because I know what it does for my body, which, freaks people out like, no, not my coffee. But it was very eye-opening. It was like, Sherry, no more dairy. We're, removing that. And then we were able to see, oh, look what coffee does to me. Look what, so it was really interesting, but yeah. Do you take dairy
did you
away
work
from me?
out when we were working together? Were
I
you
was
lifting
lifting
weights?
heavy weights, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was always scratching my head with you because I wasn't sure. I couldn't put my finger on it. Where because you work on your muscles, you're really working in everything. Yet your insulin resistance was really severe.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I'm sure, like I said, with the stress I'm under right now with moving, is like I said, I won't test sugar right now because I know it's probably, I just don't want to know right now. But I know what I need to do and I'm doing it. And we're talking about we're 3 weeks from moving. So, then I'll be back in a routine and living in a travel trailer with my husband, which will be its own set of, he's not here. I should, where is he? No. But yeah, but we're also going to be in the country. It's going to be a slower paced life. It's just going to be so much easier, than, and you and I both live in the Houston area. So we know the type of traffic out here. People,
yeah.
that'll cause its own stress and everything. But Yeah, it's definitely it was definitely worth every single penny I spent to hire and work with you, and I do appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. I hope you fix it completely soon.
Well, we're on the downhill slide here. We're gonna, yeah. I mean, and I dropped. Did I drop 2 sizes
Yeah.
in the? I
You lost a lot of
shrunk.
inches. You lost like 6 inches in that 10 pounds. So that was definitely, you lost a lot of visceral fat, which was
Yeah,
good. So
yeah, and I didn't necessarily, the scale wouldn't show it, but the inches showed it, and
yeah.
that was very, and you even told me up front when we first got started, you're like, you probably aren't going to see as big of a scale move as like men would.
I wish I was wrong, but no, but you can get it because you already tried everything else before. So I
Right.
knew I was you weren't a rookie, so you did all
No.
the easier work was already done. So
So what would be your biggest tip for someone starting out? I mean, obviously we know, things like the leptin resistant and the insulin resistance, right? The body is going to end up and store this fat when it doesn't have proper sleep, when it is doing the higher carb, right? And those insulin levels are elevated. But what would be your biggest advice to someone that is just starting out, looking at going this way of addressing their, say, prediabetes or autoimmune condition?
yeah, I mean, they don't, you don't become a PhD overnight. So before you become really good at knowing what works for you, you have to start somewhere basic, and that's really removing ultra processed food. So when you're getting started, you want to switch your food from the standard American diet to more whole food, even if that includes carbohydrates, but removing sugar. I'm not talking about berries. I'm talking about added sugar, high fructose corn syrup, fruit juice, sodas. So removing these liquid sugars and removing ultra processed grains and flours, this thing is going to have the biggest return on investment initially, especially in the early weeks, and replacing with better quality protein. Cook at home, read labels. That's the thing. I think they have to start learn how to read labels and know what the ingredients mean. And I think once they start and roll with it, they're gonna see benefits and they're gonna trial and error and figure it out. But I think sometimes people start reading too much, and then inevitably you get completely opposite opinions. Then they get paralyzed. They don't know what to do. They're afraid to do anything. The obvious thing that everybody agrees on is junk food is bad, so start there. Whether you believe in calorie in, calorie out, or insulin model, insulin model, remove processed food. That's gonna reduce your calories, but more important, it's gonna reduce it from the bad calories, which is seed oils and sugar and carbohydrates. You're gonna feel better, and the scale is gonna move. So just keep it simple. Don't worry if the plant is hard for you or not, or a piece of fruit is bad for you. Just remove the obvious stuff.
So then that goes into when people start to eat more whole foods or maybe even more, animal fat and protein, they see cholesterol go up, or maybe they see some of their liver numbers. Um, should we be concerned with high cholesterol?
Well, that's a kind of a complicated
Loaded
question, but
question.
simply, if you're feeling better, everything else is getting better. Your energy is better. You're losing weight. Your glucose is getting better. Every aspect of your health is getting better, and your cholesterol is rising. Then you have to look, what does it mean? And total cholesterol is broken down into other lipoproteins, LDL, which is the traditional bad cholesterol, HDL, triglycerides. The the numbers that are closely associated with metabolic health, heart health, is really triglycerides and HDL. So really seeing those numbers improve is the most important thing, and almost everybody sees those numbers improve. LDL can go sideways, can go up, can go down. It's hotly debated. I personally don't believe that's something that's beneficial in every aspect of your health. Is all of a sudden is after your heart. It's gonna kill you. So high LDL needs to be analyzed in context of metabolic health, and and there's more data coming out on this. There's phenotype where people who are very lean tend to have higher LDL than
Mhm.
people who are overweight. I know my LDL went from 130, 140 when before I started everything, and now I'm like over 300. Uh, I'm not giving medical advice here, but I don't personally worry about it because I'm metabolically healthy and I understand this phenomenon. And I know I can bring it down if I choose to by consuming carbohydrates. And, and then I have had a heart calcium scan, so I'm not going to just ignore it. But I know metabolically I'm very healthy. So if you see your cholesterol going up while everything else is getting better, don't be afraid. Just think like common sense and focus on triglyceride, HDL, and then LDL. Just talk to the professional if you're scared, and then you can decide if it's worth it for you to take a medicine or not. So
Definitely. So I went ahead and posted in the chat where people can find you. So I'll go ahead and they can follow you on Instagram. And I just put that on the screen. And then if they want to do what I did, they can also go to metabolichealthmd.com and they can get a consultation with you and do what I did.
yeah, I mean I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and I have my website. So
Yep.
feel free.
Which all the links that you ended up and shared in the email will be posted, so they'll have it underneath this video as well. But yeah, I mean, I know you deal with a
My cat
lot.
is screaming in my way.
There you go.
That's
There's
Oliver.
Kitty.
Yeah. Kitty always showed up sometime during our consultations that we would have. So.
And my dog is getting jealous right now. So.
Uh-oh. And I love the fact also that you post what you eat.
Yeah, I try whenever it's presentable. Like today, I had 2 cans of sardines and 6 scrambled eggs. It didn't look. I didn't present it well, so I just ate it. I didn't post it.
I'm sure the kitty was looking at it,
yeah,
the sardines. But yeah, and then you get comments on what you post. Of course, I comment like, "Thanks for the invite," because we don't live that far away. It's like, that looked good. How come he
yeah,
didn't invite me? So, but no, you get comments on your food.
yeah. And people like that. I put some recipes. I even started a subscription. I mean, I'm working on that. Sometimes I post reels or do a live with the subscribers. I'm not big yet on like being on video. I just don't have enough time, or even don't have the editing skills to do anything. So I'm very basic. So I post my tweets. But if people want more interaction with me, I also have a subscription on Instagram if they want to. So.
And how's that going?
It's going. I think I have forgot how many. Over 40, like already. I started a couple of weeks ago, so I have like
Yeah.
40 something people. So I engage with them. Sometimes they ask questions, I reply. I did 2 lives. I did post a video about waist circumference, waist to height ratio. So just it's an experiment to engage with people more closely. Can't answer all the questions unfortunately on the big people ask me very specific questions to them, and it's can't give them direct advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's when you came out with the subscription that you did. That's when I literally texted you and said, "Hey, do you want to come on our YouTube fight?" Because I've been at you now for like months and months to
Yes, thank you for following up. And so when you send me again, I was like, let me jump on it quickly. So there's always
but
something coming up. It's like it's never gonna be a great time. So
well, you went and got engaged in the middle of all
yeah,
that.
right, right.
So
I'm
yeah.
traveling too. I'm going to Paris this week, so
Are you?
for a
Yeah.
few days just to meet up.
Good. Good. Yeah. So you've got a wedding to plan here
Yeah.
coming up and so yeah, you're just a little busy. So do you go out and walk daily? What's your exercise routine?
I have a yes, I have a dog, so I walk him like 4 times a day. So I'm always walking. I have a pull-up bar, so I do a lot of body weight exercises like push, pull, and squat. I don't go to the gym a lot. I mean, sometimes I go down to the gym here, but I like just body weight exercises. I'm lacking on the exercise front. I need to kind of get into better routine and flexibility and stuff like that I want to work on. But I like to walk a lot. So.
Yeah. I know when you and I were working together, you went home uh, to visit and you ate what your mom cooked,
Yeah,
right? But you are so metabolically flexible at this point. You were able to do that and it didn't affect you.
yeah. I mean, may have shifted up a few pounds, but I quickly lose it. And home cooked food still healthy. I mean, we're talking about added carbs from rice and bread and things like that. So and you moderate. This is the kind of stuff like I learned. Like if I'm gonna eat bad, at least that part I moderate, and I still focus on protein. And if I eat homemade desserts, I mean I control the portion, so um, you know
What does
I
your
don't
family think?
completely forget about it.
What does your family think of the way you eat?
Oh, I got them on board. I mean, I
Did
my
you?
mom had diabetes that I got her off medications a couple of years ago. My dad has hypertension, high blood pressure. He was on 6 medications, down to one. So um, it works, So my brother's right now trying to do it. So and it's not carnivore. It's like a low carb, high protein version of whole food.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to add to, what people can expect when they hire you to work one-on-one?
If they're interested or curious, they can just schedule a discovery call with me. And I'm happy to talk to them. I don't force people. Really, people have to be motivated. And if they want to do it, it's generally a 16-week program where I meet with them every week after initial consultation. And if they're in a state where I'm licensed to, I can manage medications. That's Texas, Florida, California, and Washington states. But otherwise, I can function as a health coach for them if they want to. So yeah, if they're interested, they can check out my website. I put everything for anyway on social media. If they really follow what I they'll be healthy. But there's the accountability factor that I can't provide in a post. So that's really the biggest benefit of hiring me or anybody, any coach. I'm sure Becky knows that.
Well, and that's where, like you said, you've got the subscription, we've got the Beyond Nutrition community, right? We have several meetings just for that accountability side where we just added a weight training or optimizing weight training with keto and carnivore. So we have a coach that's coming in to do that. We've got the nutrition meeting, we've got intuitive step, mental health. I mean, there's 12 different meetings per week that we're providing for less than $20. And just for that accountability side, because one, we want it affordable, right? The ones that we are trying to target for that metabolic health issues are not your, people out there that have, the money to go to the gyms and all of these other things. So it definitely has to be affordable in order to end up and reach those that we want to help. And I know that's also where your subscription channel comes in as well, as being able to reach those people and help them on reversing their metabolic conditions.
Absolutely.
Well, we definitely want to be respectful of your time since I
Thank you for
I
having
was
me. This is great.
constantly on you for are you coming on? Are you coming
Yeah,
on?
yeah.
So,
They're getting
um,
antsy here, so
yeah, sure. We would love to have you back if you'd be willing to come
sure.
back and we could pick up some more topics and just have a good conversation if you probably
Anytime.
after you're married.
Anytime. Thank you, guys.
Well, definitely. But
Awesome.
thank you so much. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Have a great evening.
Awesome.
All right.
Absolutely. Feel free to drop off here. We appreciate you coming on, Dr. Elie.
No problem. It was a pleasure. It was great. I can't
Awesome.
believe it's been almost an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
Absolutely. Awesome. Alrighty. I've got to jump over to the Beyond Nutrition community, speaking of, and do the nutrition meeting for tonight. So appreciate it. And like I said, we'll make sure all of your links are shared under this live.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, good night.
Have a good night, you both of you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.